Prime Minister Kamla Unc has condemned the opposition leader Dr. Keith Rowley for his statements that the Constitution Amendment Bill 2014 will create chaos in society. Instead, she defended the amendment last evening, saying that the runoff will eradicate ethnic voting in the country. The Prime Minister was speaking at the Gasparillo Secondary School during the UNC's Monday night forum. Sherilyn Lewis has more in this report.
Prime Minister Kamla Unc says that the controversial run-off provision of the Constitution Amendment Bill 2014 will not divide the country into a system of tribal voting. Instead, she says it will unite the people.
What are we saying on the first vote, on the first ballot? We are saying a candidate must get more than 50% of the votes to be elected the Member of Parliament. So if East Indian is 35.4%, if every single Indian voted for the UNC or for the partnership, they could never get the 51% required. And if every single African origin voted for the candidate, every single one, they will not get the more than 50% required. Why? Because they are 35%, about 35% each. So how can one ethnic group dominate the poll and dominate the election? This runoff voting will instead force us to unite.
Reading from the latest CSO census, Mrs. Unc says this country's population comprises of 35.4% East Indian, 34.2% Africans, 22.8% mixed, 6.2% undeclared, and 1.4% are Chinese, white, Syrians, or Lebanese.
So never again, if we put this runoff into effect, will tribal voting, ethnic voting, be the pattern for voting in Trinidad and Tobago. It will be the majority of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. So, you go to your constituency, you put your name as a candidate. If you have to get 51% of the votes, you have to engage. Mr. Kelshall, you're nodding your head. You will have to engage other ethnic groups in order to be the winner.
The Prime Minister also defended the two-terms provision for Prime Minister, saying that the opposition PNM have the tendency to cling on to power for years and years.
But what we have seen in our country, leaders and prime ministers want to hold on to power until you have to drag them, as I say, screaming and kicking out the door. Selwyn Ryan said in our Westminster system that prime ministers leave the politics in disgrace. In the presidential system, United States, they leave in grace. Do you know why? Because in their system, as in many other systems throughout the world, there are term limits for the leader, the president, the prime minister. That you serve 2 terms, end of it, move on, let someone else have a chance. We promise that.
The Prime Minister said members of the government will discuss other matters raised with the Constitution Amendment Bill 2014 at the next UNC Monday night forum. Sherilyn Lewis, News.